Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my wrap up for Gothtober. Gothtober was a month-long readathon hosted by Olivia's Catastrophe, Little Wolf, and Ladette M. And it ran the entire month of October. There were a lot of really great prompts, and I almost completed them all. So let me tell you about how I did during Gothtober. The first 3 prompts were to have an LGBTQ plus read, a disability rep read, and a BAME read. My LGBTQ plus read was supposed to be the vampire Lestat, which would have been perfect because Lestat is bisexual. He mostly gravitates towards men, but also women. And that was shaping up to be a great book, but I only made it 30% through. So the book that I read that did have some LGBTQ plus rep that I'm going to count for this challenge is Indelible by Karen Slaughter. This is book 4 in her Grant County series of thrillers, and there is a character in this series that is a lesbian, and she is a very minor character. She was probably in this one about 2 minutes, but there did happen to be a couple of other gay characters in this specific book, and I can't tell you anything about them. Yeah, you would have to just read it to find out about the story of this and how they come into play. But I would not say that this is great LGBTQ plus rep for those characters, those 2 characters. Yeah, so if you want better LGBTQ plus rep, I would read Vampire Lestat. But I'll tell you more about that book in my November wrap up. This one, if you're looking for a really good holds no punches thriller, this really delivers on that. The whole series are very entertaining thrillers. This is an older series, so in a few cases, I haven't noticed a lot of these cases, but in a couple things, it seemed like it maybe didn't age so well, but most of the time, they're really good. This has 2 timelines in it. The first is involving present day when this was written, and our main characters are in a active shooting situation and hostage situation at the police station. And then there's another side story of when the 2 main characters met and started working together and started dating for the first time, and the first case that they worked on together. I didn't like this one as much as the other previous books in the series, but I still enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. For disability rep, I actually did read a great book with disability rep this month, and that is Creature by Hunter Shea. The main character's wife is dealing with chronic pain and a whole bunch of autoimmune diseases that hinder her physically and her health to a very great degree, and most of the book is about her dealing with this pain and sickness, and also the relationship between the main character and her, and how the husband deals with her diseases as well. And You throw in a great creature, and you got a great book. They go on a holiday at a cabin in the woods to kind of get away from work, stress, their normal lives, and just kind of be out in nature. And there is a monster in those woods. Creature was an absolutely fantastic book, and I gave it 5 stars. For BAME reads, I actually read 3 this month. The first one you will see fit for a lot of prompts in this readathon, and that was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I absolutely loved this book as well. This was another 5 stars for me, and this is about a woman that goes to visit her cousin after getting a really strange letter from her after she has married and is living in this old dilapidated mansion. And when she goes to go check on her cousin, there is a lot of weird things going on with this family and this mansion, and it was just dripping with Gothic atmosphere. I thought all of the things that I look for in a Gothic read, and it was that made me really love the experience of reading this all the way through. And the ending is really intense, spooky, and amazing, and I just can't ask for more from a modern Gothic read. I also read The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Laval, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars, and it is a cosmic horror story based on a short story by Lovecraft that is probably his most racist story that there is. And Victor Laval took it and he twisted it and put it from Black Tom's perspective, and get to see what really went down from his eyes. I did enjoy this one, but I read The Changeling by Victor Laval last year, and that was 5 stars for me, and that was my favorite read of 2019. So this one was definitely not my favorite from him. So if you want to check out Victor Laval, I suggest The Changeling, because that blew my mind. But either one would be a good choice. And the third BAME read that I finished in October was Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is a bit of a ghost story. There's a little bit of a haunting going on in this book, but it's very subtle and a bit slow, but not in a bad way for me. It was very literary and well written, and it explores the long-lasting effect that slavery can have on people's lives. I really enjoyed this one as well and gave it 4 stars. Now into the rest of the prompts. The first one is Liars. For Liars, I'm going to count Great Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. This is the worst cover that I'm showing you, but oh well. But there are some main characters that have to lie their little pants off in a couple of these stories if, the police are around or something like that. I loved these stories, by the way. I found that I was having trouble following the stories at first when I was trying to do what I usually do, which is multitask while I'm reading. I was like, wait, what's going on? So I had to turn off all other things going on around me and just concentrate on the stories. And when I did, I really, really loved Edgar Allan Poe's stories. They are so dark. Next is female protagonist, and Mexican Gothic counts for that as well. And then foreign country, Mexican Gothic counts for foreign country because it takes place in Mexico. I also read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which takes place in London, England. And this was a very short story about a tale we've probably heard about before. I know I have. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And that was kind of the problem for me. This book was set up kind of like a mystery of finding out what was going on, but I already knew what was going on, so I just kind of, and then you don't find out what's going on until the very end, the last few pages, and I was like, well, I kind of just wanted to know more about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, not just find out about them at the end and then it's over. So I see the literary merit in this, and I think it would have been a great story for people that didn't know the story going into it, but knowing the mystery before I started kind of ruined it a bit. Yes, it was well written. It was dark and mysterious. All things that I love, but I wanted more, a lot more. For modern retelling, a modern Gothic, I am counting Mexican Gothic for that as well. It's a very modern take on the Gothic novel. And it was fantastic. Bones on the cover. I was supposed to read If We Were Villains, but I only got 30% through, so the only one I can count for this, maybe, I mean, this is a maybe, is Edgar Allan Poe, because this guy who is like, oh, maybe it does count. Let me see. I'll have to get really close for this. This guy's at a masquerade. He has like a skull mask on, so maybe that doesn't count so well. But if you look closely, his hand is actually bones. Real bones, I think. Oldest purchased. I finished both my oldest purchased books, Edgar Allan Poe and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Red on the cover. I was going to read The Boatman's Daughter, but I got 60% through the audiobook and was completely lost, so I had to start from the beginning and slow down the speed a bunch and really concentrate on it. And I'm about 50% through again now, so that will be in my November wrap-up. But I can count Creature by Hunter Shea for this prompt because that cover is also red, and I decided to include that in some of my Gothtober prompts, so that worked out well. Next is Undead Character. I was going to count the Vampire Lestat for that, but only made it 30% through that as well. But I did read another book with an undead creature, and that is this graphic novel, The Misplaced, by Chris Callahan. It's a beautiful book, hardcover. And this book includes ghosts, spirits, and also a Grim Reaper. I'm not sure if that is an undead creature. This was a really cool graphic novel. It has some steampunk elements. It's a horror graphic novel. It has amazing artwork. And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars as well. Gray morality. My picks for gray morality are the stories of Edgar Allan Poe. Definitely some morally gray characters in these stories. And also the Ballad of Black Tom. Black Tom is a great example of a morally gray character because he is kind of a small-time crook, swindler type person, but he is not a bad person. He's just doing what he needs to do. Next is Dark Academia, and I was supposed to read If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio for this, but I didn't finish it, so I fail on this prompt. Oh well. I think that's the only one. I found something else to fit for the rest. And the bonus prompt, last one, is vampire. Watch a vampire TV show or movie. And I managed to watch 6 episodes of season 4 of True Blood throughout the month of October, which I am very happy about. That is how I did for Gothtober. How did you guys do? What do you think of these books I talked about? If you like this video, you can hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.